I'm on the deck. So here we are going to discuss about the power of HTML5 and its features, new features. So HTML5 is being developed as the next major revision of HTML. That's the core markup language of World Wide Web. So the major difference between HTML4 and HTML5 is div elements. The elements that are going to be the part of division that can be replaced with new elements, like we have header element, nav element, section element, or section tag, article tag, aside tag, and footer tag. So these are the main 5 divisions your web page can be divided into with the help of HTML5. And this below table you can see specifying the new tags that are being added in HTML5. So we have section tag, aside tag, progress tag, command, HR group, summary, header tag, figure tag, video tag, canvas tag, keygen. We have footer, mark, audio, data list, output tag. Then we have nav tag, time tag, details, embed ruby, then article tag, meta tag, menu tag, fig caption tag, and source tag. So all of these are having both opening and closing tags, and they all have their own functionality. Like section is going to describe the section tag in which you can have the article tag. Header is basically the header tag consisting of all the headings. Footer is basically the footer tag having all the author information, copyright information, and all. Navigation bar tag is mainly used when you want to navigate to some other page with the help of links. Then article tag is inside the section tag. Article tag basically gives the information about some topic, like the author information, or the information of the whatever the web page is having, that can be cut and short written inside the article tag. So you can see there are so many new tags that have been added into HTML5, making it more flexible, making it have more functionality in addition to HTML4 tags. So we'll hop to the Atom text editor and check out the next example of how we can write the phrasing content, interactive content, embedded content. All of these are these contents that I am showing as an example are consisting of these HTML5 tags only. So let's hop to the Atom text editor and check out the example for the same. Now that I'm on Atom text editor, I'm going to create a new file inside this HTML5 folder, and let's say I'm going to write the example for the phrasing content. So the elements belonging to phrasing content define and mark up the text. They are we have this audio tag, B tag, video tag, button, canvas, site, code, keygen, label, mark, progress, iframe, text area, all of this, right? So let me name this as phrasing content .html. Okay, let me hit enter, write down the HTML boilerplate code, and let's say this is phrasing content, save. So let me write a heading here first. Let's say h1 is example of HTML5 tags. Then inside the paragraph tag, so I'm going to use this is a paragraph as a text. This is a paragraph of, let me put this HTML5 inside the subscript. So what I'll do is I'll make use of sub tag here. So I'll say sub closing subscript and write down HTML5 inside it. I'm going to create another paragraph with simple lorem ipsum text. Another paragraph with lorem ipsum text, but inside the second paragraph that I have written, I'm just going to put some of the text inside the superscript tag. So let me put this in superscript. So let me write this sup here, and let me close the sup here. Save this. So we are done with subscript, superscript, heading 1, paragraph. Now the next thing that I want to show you is the mark tag, right? So what I'll do is I'll create another paragraph. Let's say I'm going to open a new paragraph tag, inside which I'm going to write something like learn hypertext markup language I'm going to mark HTML5 with the help of mark tag. Close the mark tag as well. Save this. And the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use I'm going to make use of I actually want to write the opening and closing tag, the angular brackets I want to display on the web page. So we have already seen this. How do we do that? With the help of charset. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write we have used -lt. This is opening tag, in which I'm going to write strong and %GT, a closing tag. So this is going to create a strong tag for us. Strong tag to highlight strong as important part of the text. And let me close the strong tag here, the one I opened here. I actually want the strong tag to be written on the web page with the opening and closing brackets. That's why I've written %LT as the opening angular bracket and %GT as the closing angular bracket. That is otherwise interpreted by the browser as HTML code, right? Also, I'm going to write another paragraph tag that says this text is in italics, and I want to change this text in italics with the help of em tag, that is emphasis tag. So how do I do that? Either I can use em emphasis tag or I italics tag. So let me close this em tag here, save it. Oops. Let me go and run and check how it looks. So copy full path, go to the browser. There we go. You can see the example of HTML5 tag. This is paragraph of HTML5. So here, if you can see, HTML5 is a subscript, and somewhere I have even added the superscript. So this is the example for superscript. You can see this is like starting halfway above the normal text, and this is starting halfway below the normal text, right? And if you come here in this particular line of code where I have written learn a hypertext markup language, I have marked HTML5 with the help of mark tag. We have used strong tag to highlight as important part of the text. So important part of the text I had written in the strong tag, which is why it has become bold. And because I wanted to display this HTML strong tag as we write on the editor with the help of opening and closing brackets. So I've made use of ampersand LT as the opening bracket and ampersand GT as the closing bracket. So you can see it's now not interpreting this as a HTML tag. And the last thing we did is we have written our text in italics with the help of emphasize tag. So these are all comes under the phrasing content of HTML5. We have few more tags in HTML5 that can be used here in phrasing. We have the anchor tag that can only contain the phrasing. We have the area tag that can be used inside the map element. Then we have delete tag. Then we have this insert tag, link tag, map tag, meta tag. There are so many examples you can just explore in the documentation either in MDN or W3 schools and check out the examples for these phrasing content. Now let's see, check the example of how we can use embedded content in the HTML5. So I'm going to the Atom text editor, and now I'm going to create another file, name it as embedded_content.html. Hit enter. Write down the HTML boilerplate code here. Let me say this is embedded content for HTML5. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to write some content inside the body like heading H1. So here I'm going to say examples of HTML5 content or HTML5 elements. Then H2 is example of HTML ampersand LT comma canvas ampersand GT tag. Okay, then I'm also going to make use of the canvas tag here. So let me write canvas. It auto completes with ID, width and height. So by default we get width as 300 and height as 300. So what I'm going to do, let me say this is going to be ID is canvas example. Now the next thing, how could we display this canvas elements, is that I'm going to open the script tag in which inside which I'm going to create one variable. This is JavaScript code I'm writing at this moment, so you need not worry about what I'm doing right now, because we will be exploring a lot of this in the coming tutorials. So here I'm going to make use of document.getElement ID, and I actually want to use the ID that we have given for canvas example over there. The next part that I'm going to create is let's say I'm going to create one more variable, JavaScript variable. Let's say var context is equal to canvas.getContext, and I actually want the context to be 2D. Then context.font, let's set the font of this to be let's say it's 30 point Calibri. Then context dot, let me give the fill style is equal to, let's say I'm going to give some color to it, let's say red color. Context dot fill text T has to be capital here, is equal to fill text, bracket canvas example, comma 50, comma 100. Let's save this, and what I can do is come out of the script tag. I can also have an image inserted here, so I'm going to make use of image that I already have here in CSS3. So I'm going to make use of this airplane.jfif. Let me take this, let me give the name to be airplane.jfif. Let me say missing image as an alternate text. I also want to specify the height and width of it, so I'm going to give width is equal to, let's say, 200, and also specify the height is equal to, let's say, 200. Let me save this, copy full path, go to the browser and check out the example. So here you can see it says example of HTML5 elements, example of HTML canvas tag, because in the heading too I have written example of HTML ampersand LT and canvas ampersand GT, right? So that is why it's able to write the canvas tag. But why is it giving missing image? Let's go and check. I think okay, this should be JFIF. Let me save this, go to the browser and check out. Can you see it's displaying this airplane image with height and width 200. So this was about how you can have a canvas tag and an image inserted inside it, the 2D image that can be inserted onto the web page. I hope it's clear. Let's move to the next example. Now let's go and check how we can create an interactive content in the HTML5. So right click on HTML5, go to new and say interactive content.html. Write down HTML boilerplate code here. Let me see, this is interactive content, inside which I'm going to take an example of let's say the drop down menu that can be created. So let me just write a heading as example of interactive content, below which I'm going to actually open a form tag. I actually want to create a form, so it auto completes with class, action and method. At this moment I do not require any of this, so I'm just taking this out, and I'm going to make use of the select tag here, which is going to auto complete with class and name. So if you want to style your select tag, you can give some name to the class that would help you to style, but right now I just want the select tag that will have options inside it. So I'm going to make use of option. Let's say the first option that I'm going to give is something like, the first option I want to give is, let's say I'm going to give some technologies, names of technologies. Let's say the first option is HTML. I'm going to copy this couple of times. Okay, let me not copy it, let me write it down here. Let's say the second one I'm going to write is CSS. the third option that I'm going to write is for JavaScript. So I'm going to just write JS here and write down JavaScript. Let me write another one as well. Let me say this is going to be Python. Sorry, here I need to write option, give a value. I'm going to give the value to be Django. Save this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually have a break tag over here. So it's going to add a thematic break. Next thing is I'm going to open a text area. Let me give name of this text area to be something like comment. It by default has 8 rows and 80 columns, so you can write whatever you want in place of this. By default it has, because text area is resizable, there is no problem of having rows and columns as many as you want. So what am I supposed to do next is I also want to have one more breaker tag, below which I want to create a button. Let's say the type is button, name is button, and this should be a send button. And here in the text area, let's say I'm going to write something like send your feedback or a valuable comment, anything you want. Save this, and let's go to the browser and check how it looks. So copy full path, go to the browser, there we go. You can see example of interactive content. So here we have HTML. This is the drop down that I've created. There is HTML. If you want HTML, you can select HTML. There is CSS. If you want CSS, you can select it. There is JavaScript. So these are all the options of the drop down. You can see Django is the last one here, right? So you can select whichever you want. And here is the resizable text area, if you can see, right? So it's actually holding this value. If you want, you can remove and you can sense any value. Let's say HTML is the course that I want to learn and I need the training for it. So this is the feedback or the comment that I want to pass. So once I write, I can say send. So if this form is having some method called post, then this should work. So right now, because this form is just a static form, it doesn't do anything even if you press on this send button. So if I refresh, that should go back to the the normal page. Another important thing here is that there is no one sec. Okay, HTML and text, there is no thematic break added between HTML and this. Yes, why is this? Because I have to, I think, use another BR tag as well here. Let me go and save this and check if this looks nice. Yep, now you can see there is a gap between this drop down and the text area. You can even have a drop down that could select multiple options altogether. So in that case, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to say select multiple here. So let's check how can we have this multiple options or drop down selected. So So as I said, you need to add multiple here. So I'm going to write multiple, save this. Let's go to the browser and check if it's going to create a drop down for selecting multiple. Right now, if we can see, I haven't refreshed yet. I'm only able to select one of these, either say HTML or CSS or JavaScript or Python or Django, right? But if I go and refresh, it should give me a scroll bar here in order to select multiple options. So let me refresh. Can you see here we get a scroll bar and I can select whichever I want. So let's say I want HTML, I want CSS, so I can just press shift and I can select as many as I want. Let's say I want to select all, it selects all. If I say I just want to select HTML and I want to select CSS, it's actually selecting the sequential, if you can see, right? So HTML, CSS, JavaScript. If I want these two, I can select CSS, JavaScript. If I want all of this, I can select all of this. I mean all the three. So let me do that. Yes. Can you see? And if I only want to select Python and Django, I can also do that this way. So this is how we can select multiple options with the help of the drop down that we have created here. So this was about the interactive content of HTML5. We also have the metadata content. So metadata content is nothing but wherein that is, it's going to describe only the head section of the web page. Let's say this is head, this is meta charset UDF8, there is a title, there is a head, and if you make use of a style tag inside it, let's say I want to style the complete body of this, right, everything. So what I can do is I can just go inside this head tag. This is known as a metadata content. I'm not going to create a separate file. Instead, I'm going to show you here only. Let's say I'm going to make use of the style tag here that auto completes with media is equal to screen, inside which I want to style the body. I want to give the background here. Let's say background color I want is the cyan color. Let me save this and go and check if it gives some background color. There we go. You can see the background color cyan has been applied to the body. It means to the entire content of the web page. So this was about the metadata content. So this was how we learned about the different sections of this HTML5. We have seen how can we write the embedded content, we have seen interactive content, sectioning content. So inside the sectioning we have also seen heading content. If you remember, I have written a comment here. Heading content has been done. Then we have also seen phrasing content. So this was about HTML5, the basics of HTML5. We have a lot more to study in HTML5, so we see that in the next tutorial. Thanks everyone. Take care. Bye bye.